Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, I'm Crystal Atkinson. Those of you who are hopping on, this is a complimentary session for every single woman. Every person really could benefit from this, but really my area of passion is to help women really embrace the leader within themselves. And I've been in leadership for a very long time in multiple different ways as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, through education. So working with people has really just become a part of my life. And if I can help other women realize that you are a leader and you are leading all the time in ways that you may not even realize. If you are a parent, you are a leader. If you are an aunt or an uncle, a community member, if you have an official title, if you don't, it doesn't matter to me. Titles do not mean anything. Our leadership capacity comes from within. And the more you dedicate your time and energy into improving your own capacity, the more everybody benefits. So when I say this work is for me, it has impacted my life in ways I probably will never know on this side of heaven. This is for you, and this is for the next generation. That is what this work is really about. So as we dive through leading with big emotions, I just really want you to set aside any story you're telling yourself, any preconceived notion around, well, I don't have an official title, or I don't have this, I'm not interested in that. You are a leader because you've chosen to show up right now. That makes you a leader, full stop. And we're going to dive in. When you are a leader, you cannot lead something you don't have. And when it comes to big emotions, we see evidence all around ourselves. We see it in our children, we see it in our youth, we see it in other adults, social media, celebrities. People have lost, assuming they had, the ability to regulate themselves. They don't understand emotional intelligence like we need to the fullest extent of what we need to. And there are many factors that have contributed to this. And so when it comes to leading through big emotions, you can't lead something that you don't have. So we need to start by looking within. That's the same as the work that I do in the launch. You need to really look within before you can go out and broaden your impact. So as a leader, the people in your circle of influence, they are looking to you to be the calm in their storm. So you need to actually be calm when there is a storm, especially when emotions are high. So if you're going to consider a corporate workspace or a professional workspace, when you have a situation where something has triggered somebody, so they're angry, they're upset, they're sad, wherever there's an extreme emotion, they're going to go and they're going to share that emotion with somebody else, you, their boss, their colleague, the person down the hall, whomever, but they're going to go to somebody who thinks they can handle their emotion because it's so big, they don't know how to navigate it. They are ticked off, they are angry, they're sad, whatever it is, but that emotion is extreme and it's so big that it's just falling everywhere. Okay. Now, if we step outside of the corporate and we look at small children, this is really easy to see right from the time a brand new human being enters the world and we've got a teeny tiny baby or a toddler, the frontal lobe of their brain is not developed yet, and they want something, they cry. Because all behavior serves a purpose. So when that baby cries, they will learn one of two things. Either the person who's in my primary caregiving role will take care of that need, or they will do nothing. Okay. When the latter happens, then that's when a trauma cycle will then put itself into motion, because the appropriate response is the baby cries, the caregiver comes along, they try to figure out what the problem is, they solve the problem for the baby, and then the baby as well. Okay, so how do we solve that problem? Again, the simplest form, thinking of of a small young child who has not developed the frontal part of our brain. So just very basic, the frontal part of our brain, if this is our brain, got our brain stem down here, frontal part of our brain, this is our rational decision making, okay? So this is the part where we can process emotion, we can have reason, we have logic, we have all of that happens right up here. You flip the lid, okay, this is many different psychologists talk about this, and then we've got our brainstem down here. This is where our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn occurs, okay? So in a baby or a young child, this frontal part, it's not developed yet. They don't have logic, right? If you've ever been around a toddler, that logic doesn't take place. But that, I'm really upset, that sure takes place because that's the survival instinct in an animal, and human beings are animals, okay? So when we think about that teeny tiny baby, they get hungry, they're in pain, something happens, their lid flips because it's not developed yet. They scream, caregiver comes along, they pick up the baby, and they have a choice. Are you going to scream back at the baby? How well is that going to work for you? Not at all, right? Do we get angry and shake the baby? When we're in distress, perhaps, and then bad things happen. But we don't do that when we are regulated ourselves. So when we've got control over our situation, we're able to pick up the baby, take a deep breath, we put it along our shoulder, we rock it, we soothe it, we tell it it's loved, it's safe, everything is okay. And so after we've taken care of the needs, is it hungry? Does it need a diaper change? Is it in pain? Is it gassy? We think about all those basic needs of a human being. We've taken care of all the needs. The big emotion is still there. They're still flailing. They're still crying. What do? We put it on our chest and we do deep breaths. And that breathing calms the brainstem. Now, 10 deep breaths, really important. 10 deep breaths will actually reset our brainstem. So when we think about that, what does that brainstem do? It's more than just the calm. It resets our respiratory system, so our breathing calms. It resets the temperature in our body. It resets our heart rate. Everything returns to a state of balance. If we take that ability to calm the baby, and then we're going to level up some. We're going to take that teenager who's really, really angry. We're going to take the spouse or life partner who's ticked off, or we're going to take a colleague or a client and they just come at you and they are angry and they've got all of these things. Just like when we had the baby, we have a choice. We either meet them where they're at and we just head on, we're the boss, we're in control, you need to listen because I say, how well does that work for you? Not very well, right? When we use our authority as a way to convince another human being, it just doesn't work in our society anymore. Okay, so the whole because I said so that worked in 1975 does not work anymore. Instead, when we enter into that relationship, right? Because whenever two human beings come together, there's some kind of a relationship there. Our first job is to regulate ourselves, because if we are not regulated, we cannot regulate another human being. It starts from within. So this is where you come in. Deep breathing, 10 breaths. 10 breaths resets. Walking will reset your brainstem. Having time and space is going to reset your brainstem. And you want to practice returning to a state of calm when life is going good, when things are going really well. That's the most effective time to practice. No different than if you're in a public building and they practice evacuation drills. So fire drills. When you were a kid, you probably did fire drills in school. You practice those when there's no fire so that you can get really, really quick. And then when it comes to an emergency, you're able to function in a way that's automatic. So example, the last time I was a vice principal of a junior high school, we had 600 students, 50 staff members. The beginning of the year, our evacuation drills from the time we triggered an alarm to the time we were able to call an all clear ranged between 11 and 14 minutes, the beginning of the year. By the end of the year, by about 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 20 seconds, somewhere in there, I was able to have all 650 people accounted for, all clear within 3.5 minutes. But that's because we practiced regularly. So consider that. Am I able to bring myself back to a state of equilibrium? Am I able to regulate myself? And so that when something bad happens, my automatic response is not to get in that fight, because as a leader, I need to be that calm. And if your instinct is that I'm going to be face to face with you, what can you do to bring yourself to calm first, even if it's telling yourself to pause? I'm just going to pause before I react. I just need a minute. Okay. So your employee comes to you angry. The first thing you're going to do is acknowledge your feeling, what they're feeling. That does not mean you agree with them. It means that you're respectful of where they're at. Thank you for caring so much. I can see you're really passionate about this. And if their energy comes in and it just like slaps you in the face and you're like, whoa, take that moment. Take that moment to acknowledge them. I can see you're really passionate about this. Thank you for coming to me. I just need a moment. And then we can have a conversation. Okay. So you're going to begin by acknowledging, thank you so much. I see that you're really upset. Then, as long as you're regulated, that really is the key. Then you're going to lean in a little bit. Okay. We're going to talk about body language. You're going to lean in a little bit. You're going to make eye contact, but not in a way that feels attacking. Okay. And you're going to say, tell me more. Tell me more about what you're feeling. We need to drop our titles. As soon as we come in with, I'm the boss, you're going to do this because I say, communication stops, guards go up, tempers flare, and women hold the capacity to hold both strength and softness at the same time. With that, we need to lead through our openness by honoring the other person's story while maintaining our own boundaries. So we're dropping the title. That doesn't matter here. I know that I don't need to accept their perspective, but I'm going to lean in and I'm going to get curious, because my perspective might be right for me, but that doesn't mean it's right by the other person. And they may have something that they have to offer. Okay. So I'm taking that deep breath. I'm making sure I'm good and regulated before I continue with a conversation at all. I need to be regulated. That comes first. Then I'm not worried about my title. I'm not worried about their title. I am inviting them to share their ideas. And I'm also entering this conversation with a curiosity. I'm willing to adjust my lens. I'm willing to look at the situation from another angle. And I'm willing to thank them for sharing. Again, it doesn't mean I need to agree. It doesn't mean I need to change my mind if I'm the reason that they're ticked off. But it does mean that I respect you and I see you. I see that you're really passionate about this. I see that you're really upset. Tell me more. Tell me more about what's happening. Calm them. Don't make them feel ashamed or judged. And the easiest way to do that is not ask them why. As soon as you go into that why realm, let's think about it like this. We enter into a conversation and our husband's ticked off at us or whatever, and they're like, why did you even do this? Right away, you're like, whoa, buddy, back off, right? I've got my guard up. I now feel like I need to protect myself. I need to defend all of my answers. I feel like you've just jumped all over me. I'm done, right? I am no longer willing to have an intelligent conversation with you because I feel attacked. Or I feel shame. I feel embarrassed. You ask me, well, I go into the doctor and the doctor says, well, why did you gain all this weight anyway? I know I should have eaten better. I know I should have done the exercise. I know I should have drank more water. Oh, I drink too much pop. Oh, I probably have too many drinks with my friends. I feel shame. So as a leader, you have somebody who's coming into your space. Doesn't matter who that person is. We're just going to take those why questions and we're going to table them. And instead ask open-ended curiosity. Tell me more about what's going on. I can see you're really bothered by this. And so when you do that, there are some physical things that we need to do. We need to slow our rate of speech so that the other person has time to process. We need to drop our tone. So women are notorious when they get really upset, their pitch goes really, really, really high. And then it's all of a sudden they're like, drop it, lower it. Okay, I can see your report isn't done. You're really upset. Tell me more. Walk me through what's going on. And then they're able to say, I went to write the report and then I came across this set of data, or I came across this set. I wasn't sure about that. I was really confused about the next thing. I had one of my supervisors tell me I needed to do this, but then another one told me to do that. And I just got really stuck. And I should have come to you sooner, probably before it was due or the day after, and asked for some support. But I just didn't want to get fired. I didn't want you to think ill of me. You're able to have that conversation. So when you've invited them into your space, you're going to slow your pitch, drop your tone, get curious. When we don't have a title involved, it doesn't matter who the boss is, right? We're able to create a relationship and we're able to gain insights into the other person's perspective, acknowledging that my perspective is only one perspective. My client, my colleague, whomever, they have another perspective. So this is my perspective and this is your perspective. And I'm able to calm myself enough to have a conversation with you. And I'm going to walk alongside you with this. One of the biggest misconceptions we have, especially if you're dealing with teenagers through adults, is that people have the capacity to regulate themselves. And I am here to tell you that people do the best they can with what they can. And so often, that person who's showing really big emotions, in that moment, they don't have the capacity or they would do it. That mom who's yelling at her kid, she's tired, she's exhausted, she's tried everything she knows, she's not able to. That employee who just did something totally wrong or totally inappropriate, they did what they knew and what they had the capacity to work through. So as a leader, when you come and you say, I'm going to walk alongside you with this, I can see you're feeling really big things. We're going to walk through this together. I'm not here to carry your load. You're not here to carry my load. But I can give you a safe place. We can figure out what's going on. And then we can come to a consensus about what our next steps are. It doesn't mean I have to agree with you. Doesn't mean you have to agree with me. But I care about your perspective because you see something from an angle that is much different than what I'm able to see. So as I go through this, if you have questions, if something's resonating with you, drop it in the comments, let me know. But this emotional intelligent piece of leadership will absolutely change the way your teams run, will absolutely change the way your household runs. Because if you meet fire with gasoline, you'll never be able to calm it down. You'll never have order. You'll never have people going in the right direction. People will always be walking on eggshells if you're not able to regulate yourself, lean in, and ask a conversation. Okay, so we've acknowledged what they're saying. We've dropped our title. We've worked on our self-regulation. The next part is you may need to press pause. So if you're in really close proximity to the trigger, just press pause. Schedule the meeting the following day or later in the day if you're working with older people. I frequently would have an angry person come to my office and be like, and they would just demand, I need to talk to her right now. I'm sorry, she's not available right now. And I would go to them and I'd say, I'm available at this time or this time. And I would give them an option, because that pause button, that cool down button will help, especially adults and older teenagers, go from that flipped lid to start to bring it back down so that they can be in control of their emotions and we can have a really good conversation. Now, if you're somebody who works with youth, if you're a youth worker, nurse, teacher, parent, anything like that, if you have the space to walking, breathing, silence resets your brainstem really, really quickly. It's a really effective way to just press pause in a physical way. Now, toddlers are a little bit different. My oldest daughter, she would throw the most intense temper tantrums. And I had laminate floor at the time in our home that we had, and she would start. I always respected her feelings, but never in my space. Again, boundaries, right? So I would look at her at that 2 and 3 years old, and I'd grab her by her little foot as she's flailing on the floor, and I would calmly pull her into a room and I'd say, I can see you're really angry. You're going to have to be angry in your bedroom. And when you're done, then you can come out and we can talk about it. She's allowed to be angry. That's part of being human. She can be upset, she can flail, all the things, but she doesn't have a right to bring that into my space. The same with teenagers, the same with adults. I can see that you're really angry and I really want to know more. I really want to know what brought you here today. But we need to be in a space where we've got mutual respect and we're able to have a conversation. And in order for that to happen, we're going to need to postpone this meeting. So we're able to set those clear boundaries, especially with an angry colleague or client, anything like that. We need to be able to de-escalate them. And the first way we're de-escalating is saying, I see you and I hear you and I want to know more. And I'm doing it in a way where I'm not attacking them because they probably have something that I need to hear. So I'm going to get curious. I'm going to slow down my speech. I'm going to drop my pitch as a woman. So I'm not getting in that squeaky high, freaking out tone. And I'm going to invite them in when it's an appropriate time. So if you're able to postpone, if you're not, that's okay. You're going to be able to de-escalate just with these few things. Remove the barriers between the two of you. So if you're sitting down at a desk, slide your chair out to the side so that we can be across and have a conversation. Again, the more you can get rid of the title, the more you can just bring the conversation face to face, the more productive it's going to be, the more open they're going to be. Acknowledge what that other person is feeling. It is so powerful. There are common things that all human beings need. We need to be seen. We need to be heard. And when we give space for that, I tell you what, those bonds that you're going to make with those other people, they are going to respect you so much. That doesn't mean you agree. That doesn't mean you let them walk all over them. You've got very clear boundaries about when and how this conversation is going to take place. But when it takes place, I'm going to be open to hearing your perspective. And I'm going to know that I am one perspective. I am not the only perspective. You are one perspective. You are not the only perspective. And so just opening up that door through a few simple techniques is going to change the way people interact with you as they move forward. So often, as we just come to the end of this, or I'm almost at a half an hour. I don't want to go over half an hour. One of the things that hold people back, one of the ways that people really start to freak out, you see what appears to be anger really, really, really strongly, so often is not anger, it's fear. So when somebody comes in to a doctor's clinic, to an accounting firm, to a classroom or a principal's office or whatever it may be, it's fear. The teenager comes home and they're angry at the parent, it's fear. They're afraid of what's going to happen. And so when we're able to tell me more, I'm really curious about what you're thinking. Tell me more. Oh, so then what you're saying is, and we're going to summarize it, is that accurate? Ask them. Okay. And then have them come up with a solution. So if somebody comes to you with a problem, have them come up with their own solution. Oh, that's one way we could do it. Yeah, that's one way. I wonder if, and then again, open-ended question, open-ended question. Now we're going to go through the whole first day of Rise, She Who Leads in the membership group. We are going to really look at how to break down that conversation. And we're going to go through it a little bit scripted. It may not feel natural at first, but we're going to go through that as a script. We've regulated, we've acknowledged where they're from, we've given them space, we've pressed pause where we need to, and then we get curious. And so in Rise, She Who Leads in the membership group, we're going to spend day one looking at emotional intelligence and how to navigate, how to craft those conversations, how do we paraphrase, how do we move forward. All of that's going to be in that first part of that leadership series. So if you're in a position where you're like, I really want to develop my skills as a woman in leadership, that's 3 days. That's a 3-day series that is in the membership group only. So that one's not going to be in this main group. Rise is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. So if you're interested in that training, you can either join the membership. It's a come and go membership. It's just monthly. So you come in at $111 a month. You can cancel anytime. If you don't want to bother with the membership and you simply want to purchase that course, you can do that for $555. Either way, totally up to you. I will say you want to be live for those ones though, because I'm going to do coaching through. So when we go through these scripts, you're going to have the opportunity to say, I was in this situation. I'm not sure how to navigate it, or I'm not sure I did the best with this. So there's going to be that coaching component of it. Again, mid-September 17th to 19th. Just drop the word Rise and I can send you more information. As a leader, you need to invest in yourself, and your time is important. So thank you for being here. Thank you for investing in yourself. Next Monday, if you have the book Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, it's also going to be live free in this Vibrantly You community. We're going to study chapters 1 and chapters 2 in this group. So Monday, September 9th is chapter 1. And then the following Monday, the 15th is chapter 2. So looking at what does it mean to show up as a woman? What does it mean to dare greatly? Can I even do that? What does it mean to be vulnerable? I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. We're going to talk about that in those first 2 sessions for chapters 1 and 2. Again, completely complimentary. Invite your friends. If you know anybody who you're like, this makes me think of this person, they would be really interested in this work, invite them to the group. You never know who you're going to help. The follow-up, the rest of that book is going to be done within that I Am Vibrant membership. So again, it's $111 a month. Come and go, do the trainings you want, leave for the months where the trainings don't apply to you. It's totally up to you. And then finally, the launch is happening again. The last summer session finished at the beginning of August. Session 2 is going to start. This is a mastermind. That is different than a masterclass. A masterclass is more like this, where I'm going to come in and I'm going to teach you some ideas, some skills, some tricks that you can just go and apply into your real life. This is a mastermind. So we've got 3 major parts of it: identity, vision, and action. That occurs over 6 weeks. I start each session with a training. And then the last part of the session, sometimes it's a follow-up session the next day, are going to be Q&A. So I will live coach anybody in that group. I will only take 10 people in there. It's a very small mastermind because I want to be able to coach you through it. You're going to receive a full leadership profile that typically is $222 on a standalone. You're going to get a year's worth of the I Am Vibrant membership. So Rise, She Who Leads, is September, and then Rise, She Who Mentors. So this is going to be one good for anybody who works with children and youth, be it a parent or formal position. It's going to be about raising the next generation of leaders. That's October's training. You're going to get a year's worth of that membership absolutely free. All of that's coming with Launch. Launch is available. You can pay in full at $9.99 or you can make 3 payments of $333. So you just let me know what you need and where you are at in your leadership journey, and then I will find a way to support you. Okay, any questions? Reach out to me, message me. I'm happy to support however I can. And I will see you next Monday for Daring Greatly, Chapter 1. Get the book wherever you buy your books, library, whatever. Have Chapter 1 read and say Daring Greatly below so that I can make sure I can send you the link because I want you to hop on the Zoom for that one. Okay, bye for now.